Hey guys, today I'm gonna go over the hack to getting physically prepared for these mountain hunts. For the better part of a decade, I spent half of my year helping guys get ready for mountain hunt. That was both gear, their skill set, and a big part of this was putting together a plan with them so they would be physically ready. The biggest takeaway I have from that experience is that 90% of the traditional fitness advice, it's just repurposed for elk hunting, is a form of just pissing in the wind. Not because it won't work, it almost all works. If you do that advice, it will work. It's just that 90% of the hunters won't do it when it comes to preparing for elk or mountain hunts. In all my years of dealing with this, I can count the amount of guys that got in shape specifically for an elk hunt on one hand. A matter of fact, 80% of the mountain hunters, guided and do-it-yourselfers, will tell you that their biggest failure on previous mountain hunts was just not being physically ready. And this goes on for hunt after hunt for the same guys. It's like they never learn. Well, with all my exposure to it, I did learn, and I want to share with you what I found actually works. If you have no clue who I am, I'm Cliff Gray. I built, owned, operated, and sold some of the largest wilderness businesses in North America. I've guided and outfitted over 1,000 big game hunts over the years, and my insights and strategies in these videos are based on that data set and experience. All I hope, guys, is that you guys get some value from these videos. Subscribe to the channel, and if you're interested, get on my newsletter at pursuitwithcliff.com. All right, so let's get to the point, guys. First, what do you need to develop when it comes to physical prep for these mountain hunts? Two things. First, the obvious one, cardio. Specifically, we are talking about your VO2 max. This is your body's ability to process oxygen, and this allows you to expend more energy over a given period of time. That's kind of the scientific definition of VO2 max, basically cardio, right? The second is your core strength. This is your strength of your abdominals and hips. People always think when I talk about this, I'm digging on fat people here, guys, but core development equally applies to all BMIs and body types. A matter of fact, those soft, skinny guys with the little titties and belly, some of those guys have the biggest problems with a weak core, okay? Here's the problem. The only way to increase your VO2 max is high intensity training. And if you're not already in the depth of CrossFit, probably fall in the category of just human nature. We really don't like high intensity training. The thing is that then when we're hunting, climbing, stalking, in the mountain hunting environment, we are all going to get our heart rate and breathing rate up with an increased demand for energy, okay? Even if you hike at a steady pace, and I always hear this, well, I just walk slow. Well, you gotta have better cardio because it'll increase your effectiveness. And this really comes into play when guys get shots and they get shot opportunities. You can be just mellowly cruising around the mountains on your mountain hunt, and now all of a sudden you have an opportunity to take an animal, right? If you're not ready and you can't do that short little climb to the shooting location and then have control, of your respiratory rate and your heart rate, you're gonna have a hard time taking advantage of that. From the hunters I've been around at elevation, once they get reduced oxygen levels, they have a hard time both physically and mentally recovering. So again, a higher VO2 max helps this, all right? The second part of the problem is that most people don't spend their days moving around like humans should. Hence the skinny fat deal that I mentioned, okay? We just don't move around, how we evolved to move around. The thing is, when we are hunting, we are moving around exactly how we evolved to move, all right? We have to have constant balance in the mountains. We're carrying gear, we've got rifles, hung over our shoulders, backpacks on. There's constant asymmetry. This takes core strength to maintain. Without it, you're gonna be prone to injury, pain, and all that in the mountains, particularly on backpack hunts. It affects your sleep, right? But it also affects just your confidence and your abilities. So the obvious solution that you'll see thrown around in articles, YouTube channels, hunting influencers, all that, do CrossFit type workouts, train like a long distance trail runner, that sort of thing. Or even simpler, you can strap on a weighted backpack and do interval hiking training in rough terrain. This stuff will all work, guys. All three of those will work 100% of the time for both increasing VO2 max and core strength. And guess what? 95% of you guys won't execute on that approach. There are a ton of practical reasons or excuses why you won't. All right, so first, you don't have rough terrain around. You don't have mountains or even trails in your locality. right? And then the other thing is the cost and time of CrossFit or other group training is an issue, all right? The other reason you won't do it, it is just weird in a lot of environments that we live in. How many people will strap on a big backpack and trounce around their neighborhood for a few miles every day? And then, you know, periodically sprint past their neighbors as their neighbors walking their little dog, you know, with their backpack on or whatever. There's surely nothing wrong with it, but it's just socially awkward at best. So we don't do it. That's what I found, all right? So we have to find a better solution. So our next best option that gets thrown out there is just a gym type workout. Here we run into some issues that I kind of clicked on, and that's that on the VO2 max front, people get on a stair climber or treadmill at the gym. They put in the miles, but they just don't have the fortitude to build in intervals and get that high intensity training, right? And so they don't get big increases in VO2 max, all right? On the core front at the gym, high value core exercise like calisthenics, pull-ups, kettlebells, rings, that sort of thing, they're intimidating to people. And the reason they're intimidating, it's a rational reason, and that's that there is a learning curve to those activities. It's hard to do them right, and you got to learn. So that's hard, and people fall off, all right? Like, I personally really like calisthenics, but they really aren't a gym workout to me. They're actually a hobby, all right? And so guys, that right there, that concept, that brings me to the real hack and the most realistic solution to this enigma. I said that calisthenics are a hobby to me, okay? And this is what I found with all these hunters over the years. If you don't like the preparation, you aren't going to do it. I'm basing this on empirical evidence. You might be the exception, but statistically, you're probably not. So, as I mentioned before, almost no one will execute a elk hunting specific fitness program. However, tons of folks into physical hobbies show up exceptionally prepared for hunts. So here's the deal for guys wanting to physically prepare for mountain hunts. Use a future hunt as an excuse to pick up a sport you used to really enjoy or start a new one. Almost any sport combines both high intensity training to get that VO2 max up and core exercise. There's constant balance, you're using multiple muscle groups. That's almost in all sports, all right? So some examples that I've seen produce guys that are exceptionally ready for mountain hunts without even knowing it are tennis, soccer, pickleball, basketball, jiu-jitsu, boxing, any of the martial arts, and trail running. Even baseball, softball, volleyball, hockey. A lot of those guys don't sound like super physical sports, but they help because you enjoy it. If you can try to get into a competitive environment too within that sport, because teams drive accountability, and the other thing is if you do a new sport, there's motivation in just learning, all right? So guys, that's the hack. Yep, it took me a few minutes to get there, but you need to enjoy it, and if you can be competitive, that's how you're gonna get in shape for these hunts. So all of a sudden, you will find time that you used to never have when it came to going to the gym, walking around your neighborhood with a 50-pound bag on or whatever. All of a sudden, you are gonna have time because you enjoy this activity. Guys, if you have any other advice on physical prep for the world out there, if it's different than the stuff I mentioned, throw it down in the comments. I'd love to see it. All right, guys, so that's the quick hack on getting physically prepared for these hunts. I hope it's helpful to you. If you want detailed stuff on glassing, stalking strategy, all of that, check out those videos on the YouTube channel. I think you'll enjoy them. Thanks, guys.